She's playing against this gentleman, Melis Mamatov. He's playing the white pieces. Lu Maoyi playing the black pieces. Melis is from Kazakhstan. So I think that's in the general vicinity of China, anyways. He was born in 1996, so he would have been, what, 26 years old when he played this game. He's actually rated at about the same as Lu Maoyi, as you can see now. But in the game, he was rated, as you can see there, 24-12. Lu Maoyi just 23-21. And she is playing the black pieces. You can see this game was played in June of 2022. Anyway, let's go ahead and get right into the game. Mamatov begins with pawn to e4, king pawn opening. Lu Maoyi goes with pawn to c5, so we've got the Sicilian defense. And now Mamatov plays kind of an unambitious move. This is just not a super strong move to open the game, and it ends up being pretty rare right off the bat. So not many master games have played bishop to e2. And now we have knight to c6 by Lu Maoyi. And so this is called the slow variation of the Sicilian. And now we have pawn to f4 by Melis. And Lu Maoyi plays pawn to d5. We have pawn to d3. We have pawn to d3 by white. Lu Maoyi plays pawn to e6 now, best move in the position. And we have knight to f3 by white. Again, the best move that can be played in that position. Just developing the pieces efficiently. Bishop to d6 by Lu Maoyi. And now we have pawn to c3 by white. Lu Maoyi plays knight to e7. And Momatov plays, he goes ahead and castles. It might have been better to go ahead and move the bishop out here. We want to get these pieces involved, but this was an okay move, castling here. Lu Maoyi plays pawn to f6. And it was suggested that she might actually castle here. This might have been better, but okay. Mamatov then plays queen to e1. And there's only been 3 games played besides this one to this point. 2 of the 3 games black actually won. Lu Maoyi goes ahead and castles here. And now we have pawn to a4. And it is of this move on move 9, that we have a fresh new game. Nobody's played this position in recorded chess. And now we have queen to c7 by Lu Maoyi. White plays pawn to g3 here, and this is actually the best move of the position. Not any other way to really play that, but it does feel a bit awkward moving the pawns around the king. Anyway, let's continue. We have pawn to b6 by Lu Maoyi, and then white plays knight to a3. Lu Maoyi advances her a pawn to a6, best move in the position once again, and now we have knight to h4. And this is a bit of a mistake. Knight c2 would have been best, just moving this knight back here. We're not going to go into the variations on the mistakes or inaccuracies just because this is a relatively long game, but we will go into the blunders. But yeah, that would have been better to just get that knight better position. It's kind of strange that white has both of his knights on the rim, but let's go ahead and continue. We have bishop to b7 by black, and now bishop to g4 by Lu Maoyi, best move that can be played in the position, putting pressure on this pawn, very forcing move, something's got to be done. White plays bishop to g4, and it's a very forcing move. That's, best move in the position. So Lu Maoyi goes ahead and defends with knight to d8, and now the bishop goes back to f3 here, which is a bit of a mistake, an inaccuracy, if you will. A better move would just be capturing this pawn here rather than moving the bishop, as it just did move, and we still have pieces to get into the game. Lu Maoyi then moves her knight right back to c6. This is the slow variation of the Sicilian after all, so kind of repeating some moves. Now we have pawn to b3 by white, and Lu Maoyi lifts her rook to f7, and that was a bit of a mistake. It would have been better just to bring her rook over to d8 here would have been a better move, but let's continue. Mamatov plays rook to b1 here. And now Miaoyi doubles her rooks on the f-file with rook a to f8. And now we have knight back to g2 by Momatov. And this was a bit of a mistake. Again, saying, hey, what is that knight doing over there? He needs to find a better square. That would have been a better move than moving the knight. Miaoyi plays queen back to b8. It would have been better just to go ahead and push the d pawn. That was a stronger move in this position. And now we have pawn to h4 by white. Again, just begging to get this knight into a better position is Stockfish, saying that's a much stronger move. And now we have knight back again to d8. So not making any progress. I guess Miaoyi has most of her pieces deployed and she's just looking for a weakness to come up. Stockfish actually suggests playing pawn to g5. That seems really interesting. I guess the issue is to activate these rooks. That does make some sense. I see that now. Yeah, with the bishop and the queen lined up over here, the rooks lined up. That does make sense. Okay. White plays queen to e2 now, and we have queen over to a8 by Miaoyi. Again, the engine does suggest just playing this move, just tearing things open. And now we finally have knight back to c2 by white. This is the best move in the position, as you might have guessed. And now bishop to c6 by Miaoyi. Again, a minor inaccuracy. It would have been better, it says, just to move this bishop back. But let's continue. We have bishop to d2 by white. Pawn push would have been better in this situation. And now we have pawn to b5 by Miaoyi. So a lot of mistakes, a lot of inaccuracies technically, but not many blunders so far. Better move would have been capturing the e-pawn here. And now white does capture. So a captures on b5. We have a captures on b5 again for black this time. And now rook over to a1, attacking Miaoyi's queen. So of course she's going to reposition. Best spot for that queen is on b7. And now we have pawn to c4 by white. And now we have pawn to b5 or b4 by Miaoyi, best move in the position. And king now to h2 by the master playing white. And it would have been better to go ahead and centralize the rook behind the bishop here. A lot of times if you don't have a good file, although that's kind of hard to see. It looks like that's a good place for a rook. Usually rooks do like open files, but okay, that's what Stockfish recommends. And now we have king to h8 by Miaoyi. And now the rook does come over to the e file, doubling up behind the queen. So we have rook a to e1. And now Miaoyi moves her queen to the corner again. Queen to a1, and white goes ahead and moves the rook right back to a1, attacking. So Miaoyi moves her queen to a8, and now we have rook back to a1 once again, attacking the queen. A better move might have been going ahead and pushing the d pawn up, but okay, we'll continue with the position. Miaoyi moves her queen back to b7 again, and now we have pawn to h5 by white. This is the best move in the position. And now pawn captures on c4. Again, the best move in the position. And now we have capturing to the outside, which is essentially pawn captures to c4 here by white. This is a blunder, and the reason why is actually because of the move that white actually plays. He plays pawn here, and it's just really locking down on Miaoyi's position. Yeah, so giving up some ground there. And now Miaoyi plays pawn to h6, which is a minor inaccuracy. It would have been better if she would have just moved her rook over to e8 instead, but let's continue. We have queen to d3 by white. And now Miaoyi moves her bishop back to c7. We now have knight to e3 by white. And it would have been better to develop this knight to h4. Would have been a better move, maybe coming after this little outpost here. but not what happened on the board. Miaoyi now moves her knight back to c8. So interesting placement of those knights. They're not really getting into the game. Maybe with the closed position, she's hoping to save them for later in the game. Anyway, now we have knight to this nice little outpost here on d5 by white. The bishop now moves back to d7 here. Again, the engine is suggesting this move, rook to e8. And now we do see knight coming to h4, looking for that outpost perhaps. And now we have king to h7 by Miaoyi. Bishop to e3 now by white. And bishop to b6 by Miaoyi. And now we do see the knight coming to that fantastic outpost on g6. So knight to g6 by white. And now the rook does move to e8 finally. Best move in the position, of course. And now we have rook to d8 or d1 by white. Queen move back to e2 would have been a better move, says Stockfish. And now we have knight to c6, which is actually a blunder. So this is a blunder because, yeah, the knight can pick up the bishop here, and then we have knight captures bishop back, and now bishop captures pawn. And yeah, just really tears open the position, and of course white does win a pawn there. So that is the reason that was a blunder. But let's go ahead and get back into what actually happened on the board. So we have knight captures bishop here by white. So knight captures on b6. Best move in the position. Miaoyi plays knight captures back. And now we do see that. So that was the issue here. So bishop captures. So he did punish her for making that mistake. That's why it was a blunder. And now Miaoyi moves her bishop back to c8. We have queen now to e2 by white. And now the rook comes to d7 by Miaoyi. And we have that knight jumping down to f8 with check. Miaoyi does capture the knight. So rook captures on f1. And of course, bishop captures rook now. Miaoyi now plays knight to c4, attacking the queen and also attacking the bishop. And white plays queen to f2 here, which is a blunder. The rook should have just gone ahead and captured here. That would have been better in this position. We have knight now capturing on b3. That's the best move in the position for Miaoyi. And now we have the rook coming over to b1, attacking. And the best move here actually would have been just to go ahead and capture the rook here on d7, says Stockfish. And now the knight goes ahead and moves back to d4, which again is a blunder. Instead, Miaoyi should have played rook captures rook on d1. We would have bishop captures rook as the best move on d1 for white. And then now the knight comes back to d4, locking down that file. And this would have been a better way to play for Miaoyi. White would have not really had any kind of advantage at all in that position. But with the move that she plays, if white plays correctly, he should be up to significant. He should be able to maintain his advantage as he is up right now. But let's go ahead and back to what happened on the board. So Miaoyi does play knight to d4. And now we have rook captures pawn on b4 by white. And we have queen to a6, getting out of that pin. The rook was pinning the knight to the queen. And that is the best move in the position. And white also finds the best move of the position, dropping the bishop back to g2. And now we have knight captures pawn on c4. And that is the best move in the position. And now the bishop does move to f1, kind of pinning the knight to the queen, I think is the idea. Although it would have been better to play rook to c1 instead, attacking that way, says Stockfish. And Miaoyi moves her queen to a3 now, attacking the rook. And we have rook to d3 by white. This gives away the advantage. So instead, he should have played bishop to d3 here. And then we would have bishop to a6 by black. Rook then could jump down to b7. The queen the queen's under attack, so queen would have to capture on f8, and then we'd have rook captures on d7 by white, and now queen to e8 by black. Bishop then takes the knight on c4. Bishop takes bishop on c4. And then rook takes knight on d4. Pawn takes rook. And yeah, this would have been a better way to play. This is how white could have taken advantage or maintained his advantage. But he made a mistake, and let's see if Lu Miaoyi punishes him in the actual variation. So instead, as we saw, he plays rook to d3, which is a blunder. Lu Miaoyi does find the best move in the position. She plays queen to c1. And now white plays bishop back to c5. And we have knight to d2 by Lu Miaoyi. She should have moved her bishop to a3 instead, attacking the rook, but let's continue. Now we have bishop takes knight on d4. Then this is a blunder. Again, giving up his advantage is white. It would have been better to play rook takes d2 instead. And we're not going to go into that variation just now because, yeah, this, like I said, this game is relatively long. Let's just see what actually happened on the board. Lu Miaoyi goes ahead and captures the bishop on f1. And then we have king to g2, putting additional pressure on that knight. Two attackers, only one defender, so something has to be done. But instead, Lu Miaoyi goes ahead and picks up the bishop on d4. And now we have rook captures on d4. Rook captures pawn on d4. And now Lu Miaoyi repositions her knight to e3, which is an inaccuracy. She should have just gone ahead and captured the rook first as Stockfish. But let's continue. And now the king attacks the knight again. This is a brave king. We have king to f3. And that is a mistake once again. An inaccuracy, it says. And black is now winning in this position. As you actually can see by this evaluation bar, negative means black. So saying that she is up 5 points in this position. So greatly favored position. And now we have rook captures on d4 by Lu Miaoyi. Rook captures on d4 by white. And now knight to c2 by Lu Miaoyi attacking the rook. The rook repositions. Now we've got so rook to d2, two attackers on the knight. That knight seems like he needs to get out of there. Best move would be to play knight to e1 check, but Lu Miaoyi instead plays a solid move. She plays queen to h1 check. The king moves up to f4, which is the best move for white. And now we have knight back to e1, which in this case is a blunder, kind of giving away the advantage to white. And now we have pawn to g4 by white. This is also a blunder. Instead, queen to e2 should have been played, just moving the queen over here. But let's continue. We have bishop to b7 by Lu Miaoyi. And now the king moves to g3 here. That's the best move in the position for white. And Lu Miaoyi plays queen captures on e4, taking the pawn and her first actual material lead of the game. Although, again, if you look at the evaluation bar, it's saying that she is totally winning in this position. We now have queen to e2. And Lu Miaoyi does trade queens. She plays queen captures on e2. We, of course, have rook captures on e2. And now knight to d3 by Lu Miaoyi. So Lu Miaoyi is up a point here. We got 2 pieces worth versus 1. But yeah, knight and a bishop are each worth 3 points apiece. The rook only 5. We have rook down to e7, attacking the bishop. Of course, the bishop's got to reposition. Lu Miaoyi moves it to c6. And now we have rook to e3 by white, attacking the knight. And the knight finds a nice little outpost on e5 here. And now we have king to f4. In an endgame, you do want to try to activate your king, get them involved there. I mean, kings are stronger than knights and bishops, so They got to be activated, and this was the best move in the position. Now we have bishop back to a4. This is the best move in the position by Miaoyi. And now we have rook to e4, attacking the bishop. So, of course, the bishop's got to reposition. Miaoyi finds the best spot for it on d1, putting, whoops, doubling up on the pawn here. So, of course, the king's got to move out of the way in order to allow the rook to help defend. We have king to g3, best move in the position. And now king to g8 by Miaoyi. We have rook to d4 by white. And now bishop to e2, best move in the position for Miaoyi. The rook goes back and attacks, rook to e4. And now we have bishop to d3 by Miaoyi. So the knight nicely protects the bishop. And now we have rook to a4 by white. Miaoyi attacks the rook again with rook or bishop to c2. And of course the rook's got to move, and he goes for a checking move, rook to a8 check. And Miaoyi moves her king to h7, which I'm starting to think that she just wants a draw because, yeah, you should be activating your king. It would definitely have been better to move the king to f7. And now we have rook to d8 by white. And we have bishop to e4 by Miaoyi. Rook now to d4 by white. And Miaoyi moves her bishop to another square that's guarded by her knight there on c6. And now the rook comes down to d8, and this is the best move in the position for white. Now we have bishop to f3, maybe taking some squares away from the king. This is the best move in the position for black. And we have rook to d4 by white. This is the best move in the position. And now Miaoyi brings her king to g8. We have rook now to f4. So now two attackers on the bishop. So Miaoyi does reposition her bishop once again to c6. And now we have rook back to f1. And Miaoyi does move her king to that good square. She should have had it on a few moves ago on f7. But now rook to f2. And Miaoyi is trying to get her king out. She moves king to e7. And now we have rook once again back to f1. And now we have bishop to a4 by Miaoyi. This is a mistake. Instead, she should have moved her bishop to d4. And she would have had a little more of an advantage. In this case, her advantage is very slight, according to Stockfish. And now we have the best move in the position, rook to a1, attacking the bishop. The bishop comes back to its little safety square on c6. And now we have rook to a7 check. Whoops. Rook to a7 check. Miaoyi forced to move her king back. And now we have rook to a3 by white. Now, if the position repeats itself, if all the pieces are in the same exact squares 3 times in a row, so none of these pawns have been pushed. So if the kings, the knights, the bishop, and the rook are all in the same squares 3 different times throughout the game, it becomes a draw. So that's something that hopefully these players were keeping track of. So now Miaoyi moves her king to g8, which is a mistake. Should have moved it to f7 instead. And now we have rook to b3 by white. And Miaoyi now moves her king to f7. We have rook now to a3 by white. And now we have bishop to b5 by Miaoyi. Now we have rook checks on a7. So the king moves back to g8. And white plays rook to a8, putting her in check again, although it would have been better to maybe move the rook back here. This was an okay move. And Miaoyi moves back to h7 again. And now we have rook to a2 by white. And bishop to c4 by Miaoyi. Nice little spot guarded by that well-protected knight. And the best move for white is rook to b2, found by the master. And now bishop goes to d5 by Miaoyi. And the rook comes over to d2 to attack the bishop. And of course, the bishop has to move and goes to f3. And it turns out that this position has happened 3 times. So this was a draw by threefold repetition. The pieces were all in this position 2 other times in the game. This was the third time, so it becomes a draw. So nobody won this one. A lot of master and grandmaster games do end up in draws. In fact, the grandmasters and super grandmasters, about half of their games are draws, and then what is left is their wins and losses. So anyway, yeah, that's the end of that game. Thank you for joining me for that one. I hope you enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe, as I will be making many more game reviews. I also have some tactics on there. Please let me know if there's any videos you would like me to make. Is there a grandmaster or an up-and-coming superstar that I should cover their game? Also, please check out my Patreon. It should be linked in the description. You have access to chess lessons, and we do tactics and stuff like that. But yeah, thank you for joining me. Take care.